This is the features video for the 0.11.8 release. And yes, I'm back, mostly. My old computer went up in flames, but fortunately I had backups for most of the important stuff. I'll start with the visual features, but of course there's no particular order. On the tab view, in the combat tab, you now have the encumbrance, move, and dodge information. And on the NPC or mini sheet, we've added the portrait. If you look over in the chat log, when a player rolls against an attribute or a skill, it's now displayed as an on-the-fly formula, which means you can click on it again. And of course, any modifiers to the roll appear as on-the-fly modifiers that you can click on. So let's say Honest Abe was trying a very hard tracking check, and he failed, but he just so happens to have ridiculous luck. This guy doesn't have it, but let's say he did have it, and you want to roll that again. Instead of setting it all up or trying to find it on your character sheet, you can just say, all right, -6, try tracking again. And it didn't make it, so okay, we'll try it again. -6 and tracking again. We've enhanced the on-the-fly formula to do some subcategories of damage. So, for example, we now support burn, tight beam, burning. So if you put burn and then TBB afterwards, we know that it is a tight beam. So in this case, the goblin will do 12 points of damage to Lady Cereal. And what tight beam burning does, it's on page 399 of the basic set, is it actually allows you to get multipliers if you're hitting, say, the vitals. So here, regular burn damage on the vitals doesn't have any kind of extra modifier. But if we do tight beam burning, and then attack the vitals, you'll see the modifier is ×3 because it's a very tight laser beam instead of an explosion or something like that. Then we added the ability to have double knockback or no knockback. So here's 16 points of crushing damage, and we'll drop it on this goblin, and you can see down here it calculates that there would be 2 yards of knockback. Well, I'm going to do the same damage with double knockback, and we'll drop it on here, and you can see it's now 4 yards. And if I have it set for no knockback, then there's no knockback calculated. And finally, you can actually specify the hit location. And what it does is it defaults to that location in the apply damage dialog. So here we'll do some damage to the vitals, and you can see that vitals is automatically selected instead of the default torso. We've added 2 new system settings. This one right here, use non-locally hosted import dialog. This is danialrab's enhancement to our system. Again, thanks, man. What this does is if you're, say, hosting on the Forge or something like that, and you're not hosting locally, this will enhance the browser input dialog such that if you re-import in the same session, it will remember where it got the file from, so you don't have to keep selecting it. The other option is Actor, remove unequipped weapons from melee and ranged lists. That does exactly what you think it does. If you unequip an item from your carried equipment, we'll remove that from the melee or ranged list just as a reminder that you're not supposed to be able to use that attack because you don't have that thing equipped. Now, Nick did a ton of work while I was on vacation. He rewrote the maneuver system to start using the Foundry ActiveEffects. It doesn't mean anything to you guys, but we're basically rewriting some of the guts to try to get in line more with how Foundry does its stuff, which will actually allow us to do more later on. It's always painful to rewrite, but Nick's doing a great job. He's done a couple of tweaks with the maneuver system, and hopefully it's a little bit sharper now. He quoted in the changelog, "I think it really works correctly now," which, you know, with our code, who knows? Of course, Nick fixed a bunch of bugs. He fixed the light command to be able to accept color correctly, and a parsing issue if you're importing where you use Western European style decimals, where you use comma instead of period. This only affects the import and only in certain situations like speed. This last feature is for the macro developers out there. We now remember the last targeted roll. So that means an attribute check or a skill check. and we record it. We keep the last one. We keep the last one for each actor, and we keep the last one for each token if you have a lot of tokens for an actor. Like I said, this is for the macro developers out there, but this is shared across all the clients. So once somebody makes a roll, then that's broadcast to all the other clients. So a player could make a targeted roll, and the GM could execute a macro to find out what their margin of success was. So it looks something like this. Lady Serial has made a strength roll. She made it by 3. The test goblin made a strength roll and just made it. And the GM and this particular macro, the GM would select both tokens. And then this is going to go out and get the last targeted roll for the first actor and the second actor, and then show who wins. So if I execute this, let's see, Lady Serial should win. Yes, Lady Serial wins because of that. And what we're storing is actually just the whole message from the chat window, which contains a whole bunch of stuff in there, but you can get the margin of success. And if you don't want to key off the actor ID or the token, you can just say GURPS.lastTargetedRoll, and that will just get you the last targeted roll, whatever it is. And finally, I updated the internal animation list for JB2A's latest release, 0.2.8. Sorry, I missed a few releases during vacation and the whole computer debacle. But we're back in sync now. And I know, I've promised to document the animation command, but just as I was about to get the energy to do it, I started going on all these trips. And then when we got back, the computer Armageddon occurred, and well, that's it. It's a small release, and I know it's taken a really long time to come out, but we really appreciate all of our users. And I just want to let you know that at the end of this month, we will have been developing this system for a year, and it's come a long way. And I want to thank each and every one of you. We have gotten so many comments and contributions and suggestions and bug checking. The only way we got this far was because of all of you. So thank you. And as always, thank you for watching.